Hello everyone and welcome to part 9 of Fake It Till You Make It. Now, I'm a little sick. I'm sorry if it sounds off, you know why, but I promise to stick to the upload schedule, so I will try my best to do that. Therefore, enjoy! Also, little trigger warning for the mentions of self-harm. It does not really happen, but it gets mentioned, so be aware of that. And unrelated to that, for the mentions of blood. I swear it's gonna be fine. The lock clicked, and suddenly Atsumu found himself in the very same apartment again he had only seen once before. Nothing had changed. Everything was exactly as it was 2 days ago. There was no reason why it should have changed, yet it still felt odd to see that it was exactly the same. So much had happened in the meantime that the static apartment seemed odd. Warm, golden-orange light flooded through the window of the living room, setting the light walls and furniture ablaze. The whole place was spotless, and despite what Sakusa said, it felt wrong to change that. Atsumu knew he only wanted him to feel better, but he couldn't place why, nor did the idea of even changing anything remotely in this room make him feel better. The whole apartment screamed Sakusa Kiyomi, from the way it was organized to the light colors predominating the interior design, and somehow this was exactly what gave him comfort. The apartment hadn't changed, and Sakusa hadn't changed either. He was still the grumpy, gorgeous, and gentle ace he knew. Just that he had been given suddenly a lot more context. He wondered, was Omi's germophobia a result of his parents as well? The way they talked about him bringing home diseases due to being homosexual could have invoked this, couldn't it? He sighed, letting the bags fall from his shoulder before going back to neatly put them off to the side. The kitchen caught his attention, and he remembered that Sakusa allowed him to use anything still in stock. He settled for preparing some tea, and while the water boiled, he quickly set off to the bathroom to inspect the damage. He looked a mess, and after a couple of minutes of uselessly trying to fixing himself in the mirror, he gave up and settled for a shower. He was sure Omi would prefer it this way as well. Oh, of course, their deal was over now, so there was no reason for him to touch him anymore, or even so much as tolerate Atsumu's touch. Fuck. He felt tears well up and impulsively punched the wall beside him. The pain felt good, it distracted him, and an all too familiar relief washed over him. He cursed under his breath and quickly put the water onto the coldest setting to chase the thoughts away. His gaze wandered to a couple of washed-out pale lines at his thighs. Scars. He promised his brother. He couldn't. He wouldn't fall into old habits again. Deep breath. He dried himself off when he heard the front door click open and cursed. His stuff was still in the other room. Sheepishly, and with his head hanging low, he walked into the living room with nothing but a towel around his waist. Sorry, I forgot my stuff. The words got stuck in his throat. What are you doing here? Sakusa carried the little stuff Kaya had packed in a hurry to her room while she called Ichiro to assure him that they were okay. If he was completely honest, he was stalling. He wanted to get back to Atsumu quickly, but at the same time, he didn't want to hear what he feared he would say. That he would leave and never come back. That they couldn't even be friends anymore. Not that they were friends to begin with. Sakusa hadn't been particularly nice to Atsumu. No, it's alright. Everything is alright. The twins are fine, though they have great fun kicking my bladder. Honestly, I feel like they will be more than a handful once they get and walk. Very energetic. He heard Karya's voice from the hallway, and she smiled as she set the bags down next to her bed. There was something in her eyes when she talked to Ichiro like this. Something warm and loving. Sakusa was happy for them. Suddenly, her smile faltered and her brows pinched together in concern. What? What do you mean he didn't return? Sakusa looked at her confused. He was about to leave, but she grabbed the corner of his sleeve to make him stay. On the other end of the line, he could hear Ayuka getting frantic, demanding the phone. Wait. I'll hand you to Kia. Confused, he accepted the phone. Kiyomi. Yes. Where's Atsumu? Is he still at your apartment? Yes. Why? You have to return now. Father hasn't returned. We suspect he might have followed you home. No idea what he wants, but don't let Atsumu deal alone with him. Sakusa's heart started racing. The idea of his father in his apartment was terrifying. That was his place, the place he ought to feel safe. The images of his room being emptied, rid of everything he ever loved, filled his mind. But yes, his father still had a key. At the very beginning, he still supported him in getting his own flat and offered financial aid in exchange for a key to check up on him. He should have declined. He was such an idiot. What did he want from Atsumu? He told the blonde his father wouldn't hurt them physically. That still stands, right? Thanks. He quickly handed the phone back to Kaya and sprinted down the hall to get to his car as quickly as possible. Is it just you here, or... Yes. Atsumu's eyes narrowed. He hated the disgust reflected in the man's eyes at the thought his son could have somehow been involved in his current state. He wouldn't allow him to insult Kiyomi any further. Good. This is actually much better than I hoped. Atsumu's teeth clenched together and he sat down on one of the kitchen chairs, still in nothing but a towel and never leaving the other out of sight. He didn't feel like turning his back toward him to even put on some clothes. Additionally, Sakusa's son seemed to hate how shameless he was, which only fueled Atsumu's decision. If he had to feel uncomfortable enduring whatever homophobic shit he spewed next, he should be uncomfortable as well. You truly have no manners, do you, boy? Deep breaths. Oh, I'm sorry. I was expecting someone else. I'm sure Ami would have loved it. His expression shifted into a disgusted grimace. Fine. I will only offer you this once, so you better decide wisely. I don't want my son to be seen with a mutt like you. You will break up with him. Break his heart so he will finally learn his lesson. The hell I will. You break up with him and I'll give you 1,000,000 yen. Take it or leave it. A cold laugh, devoid of any emotion, escaped Atsumu's throat. You must be an exceptionally bad example of character to think I would take such an offer. Who do you take me for? The last boy was smart enough. That's called being a heartless jerk, and I'm not one of those. 10,000,000 yen. Look, oh man, I don't care for your money. Other than you, I care for your son. So take your money and shove it up your ass for all I care. He got red in the face again with rage, but before he could elaborate, Kiyomi walked into the room, a little out of breath, and his eyes widened. He stared at his father with utter hatred filling his gaze. You bribed my boyfriend to break up with me? He was weak of character. You should have never... Shut up! His sister was sick, of course he would take the money! You're such a cold-hearted bastard! His father looked taken aback by that. He wasn't used to being talked to like that by his children, but whatever restrictions Kiyomi had put on himself before, they were gone. Get out! Get out and don't even think about coming back here! You don't talk to me in that tone! Get out! You have 10 seconds or I'll call the police. You wouldn't dare. Even if you wouldn't, I would. Atsumu grinned and lifted his phone. The first 2 numbers were already typed in and his smile only widened as he waved it at them. Tell him to stop. No. I said put him on a fucking leash. Now it was Sakusa's turn to get red in the face. Get out now, or he will call the police. If you think having a gay son is bad for business, maybe consider what an arrest will do. And don't you dare talk to Atsumu like that ever again. He is not a dog, he is my boyfriend. His father seemed now obviously conflicted, but got up, the prospect of being arrested sparking some kind of fear in him. Wait. He looked at him surprised, but Atsumu's expression was cool, calculated. The keys. What? Leave the keys. This is not your apartment. You have no right to them anymore. He looked like he wanted to argue, but Sakusa nodded. In his rage, he reached for them and threw them in Atsumu's direction. A sudden pain spread on his forehead as he wasn't quick enough to catch or avoid them. The ace rushed to his side and flinched as the door slammed shut. Atsumu, are you okay? He nodded. One hand covered the area where he had been hit, while he reached his other hand towards Sakusa, handing him the key. A cocky smile spread on his face as he presented the item to him triumphantly, but Sakusa could see the veil of tears covering his eyes. The cold sensation of metal was accompanied by something sickly warm and sticky. Let me see. It's not bad. Then let me see. He carefully removed his hand. There was a small gash at the beginning of his hairline, yet even though it was small, blood poured from it relentlessly, covering more and more of Atsumu's face. Quick, come here. He guided him toward the kitchen sink and started cleaning the wound with warm water. His touch was uncharacteristically gentle. It was as if his fingers left a trail of warmth behind on his skin. The ace quickly gathered a first aid kit and held a fresh gauze to his forehead. Despite the pressure, he quickly bled through it, and Sakusa had to apply a new one. By number 4, he started to panic when it slowly subsided. He fastened a piece of fabric with medical tape and gently cleaned the skin around it. In the haste of the moment, he didn't even notice how close he had gotten. A sudden warmth rushed to his face despite his best efforts to stop it in fear it might intensify the bleeding. Sakusa noticed too, his cheeks suddenly dusted in a light pink as he scattered backward. Sorry. It's okay. He averted his gaze. Do you want me to bring you home? Atsumu flinched and his expression twisted as though Sakusa had slapped him. He didn't want it to go home yet. There was so much left to say, and he didn't want to be alone right now. Sakusa, please, don't call me that. Atsumu looked up. There was pain reflected in his eyes, and he gulped. Ami, please don't throw me out yet. No, it's not fair, but I don't want to be alone right now. Sakusa's eyes widened, and for a moment it looked like he wanted to touch him, but held back. Okay. I didn't think you'd want to stay. Of course I do. Though, if you don't want me to, No, I do. I do want you to. A heavy silence went in the air as none of them dared to start what undoubtedly would be another tearful, depressing conversation. Would they always part here? How would it be at practice the next weeks? Would they just pretend as though nothing happened? Atsumu doubt he could do that. He could feel Sakusa's gaze on him, but when he turned around, the gaze quickly turned away. Atsumu grinned. Like what you see? He had asked that the last time too. This time, however, Sakusa just nodded quietly. His eyes wandered again, and Atsumu made no attempt to hide. He regretted it a moment later when Sakusa's eyes suddenly widened, and he knew what he must have found. Scars. Most of the time he forgot that they even existed. Sakusa instinctively extended a hand and traced them before he caught himself and quickly pulled his hand back. It's okay. They're old. Actually, his touch almost seemed to make it better, as though he could smoothen the skin back to its original untouched form. What happened? I have problems. I'm sick. He shrugged his shoulders. Your family is good at digging up the things you want to forget, you know? Sakusa gulped. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I should have never brought you there. I know how they get, and I shouldn't have used you like that. Whoa, hey, you didn't use me. I always do. I always hurt the people I care about. I lie, and you care about me? Atsumu. Of course. His heart seemed to lighten and he smiled. It was a small smile accompanied by sadness, but real nonetheless. Come on, I need to get some clothes on, and I'm sure you'd prefer to shower and wear something not bloody. He tried to get up, but faltered a bit, disoriented from the wound and overall utterly exhausted. Sakusa noticed and was quick to support him. He guided him to his couch and went to retrieve something from the bags. Next thing he knew, a soft bundle of color hit him in the face, and he laughed as he recognized the pajamas he packed for them. Sakusa blushed bright red and quickly fled to the bathroom, leaving Atsumu alone again. He felt a bit bad when he heard a shriek from the bathroom and laughed. He had almost forgotten that the shower was still on the coldest setting. A thought blossomed in his head as he got comfortable on the couch. He wished it could be like this every day, without the horrible parts of their families, just him and Sakusa living together. Sakusa getting scared of Atsumu's shower settings and drooling over his half-naked body. That'd be nice. He remembered the tea he never finished preparing, and with a little trial and error wobbled toward the kitchen again. When the hot water was poured into the cups, he tended to the counter, making sure to leave it as spotless as before the incident. No trace of blood left. You shouldn't have done that. Sakusa took the supplies from his hands, a towel still slung over his shoulder. Did I do it wrong? No, but but you need to rest. You got hit in the head. Atsumu's eyes softened as he looked into Sakusa's stern ones. I'm okay, it wasn't bad. It looked like you lost half of your blood. I'm surprised you can still stand. Atsumu laughed, even though Sakusa looked all but amused. I heard facial wounds always bleed a lot. It's normal. I'm still alive, ain't I? Sakusa looked down, putting the supplies aside. I was worried, you know. The whole time, I mean. I thought it was going great, but then... I should have known they would find something. I should have never... Ami, this is not your fault. None of it is. You warned me, and I still accept it. This was my decision, and my decision alone. And if anyone is to blame, it's your father. But besides, I'm kinda glad we did this. After all, I got to hear a confession. Even though it wasn't real. Whatever chance he had to salvage their friendship was probably gone with that, but he had to say it. It was only fair towards Sakusa. He had kept it a secret for far too long already. I'm sorry. I guess it was pretty shitty of me to accept the deal and all without you knowing. I'll leave if you want me to. It was real. I know, that was a very mean place to end it. I am super aware of that. But there is one more part, and in that part I promise comfort, and it's not directly spice because this is YouTube, but like, yeah, you'll see. Yeah, tell me in your comments what your favorite quote was, and I'm so sorry if my voice sounds off. Again, I'm sick. I'm not having 39 degrees Celsius fever anymore, so that's good. We're working on that, but the hardest challenge of recording this was timing the coughing right, so that wouldn't get into recording, so I'm so sorry. I hope you liked it. Have a great day.